Yo, what's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. The long-awaited wowclassicfresh servers are launching on November the 21st. This is a perfect time to roll a fresh character and start your adventure all over again. But the question is, which class should you choose? In this video, we're going to break down all 9 classes in WoW Classic, looking at their strengths, weaknesses, and everything you need to know to make the right decision for your fresh start. By the end of this video, you will have a solid understanding of what each class has to offer, and most importantly, which one fits your playstyle. Before we get started, it would be massively appreciated if you guys can hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really does help support the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with the Warrior, one of the most iconic classes in World of Warcraft. Well known for their tanking abilities, Warriors thrive in the forefront of the battle, absorbing damage and dealing solid melee damage. They are the quintessential tanks in dungeons and raids. Warriors excel at tanking in group content, especially in raids where they are able to maintain threat and soak massive damage. With abilities like Shield Block and Taunt, Warriors are able to control the flow of combat. When fully geared, Warriors can dish out a fuck ton of high melee DPS in raids, especially in Fury or Arms specs. Additionally, in Battlegrounds and World PvP, Warriors are able to deal high burst damage with abilities like Charge, Mortal Strike and Intimidating Shout. Warriors require high-end gear to perform well both as tanks and DPS. Without the right items, their performance can suffer drastically. Managing rage can be difficult, especially in prolonged fights. If you're not dealing enough damage, you'll struggle to generate the necessary rage to hit them high DPS numbers. Solo leveling can also be a grind due to their reliance on gear, limited healing and no ranged abilities, making them less efficient in solo play compared to the other classes. Next up, the Paladin. The Paladin is a hybrid class that can tank, heal and deal DPS, but they're only available to the Alliance in Classic. Paladins are a very versatile choice for both solo and group content. Paladins can tank, heal or DPS. Their flexibility makes them an asset to any group or raid. Divine Shield and Lay of Hands give them amazing survivability in tricky situations. Paladins are among the best for solo content. They can heal themselves, wear plate armor and deal decent damage. Paladins bring unique buffs and auras to a group, especially in raids. Blessing of the Kings and Blessing of the Might are invaluable. While they can deal damage, Paladins are generally outclassed by other DPS classes in raid settings, particularly in the early stages of Classic. Paladins lack mobility, making them susceptible to being killed in PvP situations. If you're a Horde player, you'll be out of luck since Paladins are exclusive to the Alliance. Hunters are the master of ranged DPS and they bring a pet along for the ride. They excel at solo content, thanks to their ability to let their pets tank while they deal damage from a distance. With your pet tanking, and you dealing damage from range, leveling as a hunter is one of the easiest and most efficient experiences in Classic. Hunters can excel in PvP with their ability to kite, control enemies with traps, and control the pace of combat with their pet. In the endgame raids and dungeons, Hunters can provide massive range DPS and are crucial for dealing damage in both single target and AoE situations. You have to manage the ammunition, which adds to an extra cost and inventory management aspect, so bear this in mind. Managing your pet's behaviour in dungeons and raids can be tricky. You'll need to keep it under control and make sure it's doing its job. Outside of their DPS, Hunters don't offer much in terms of utility compared to the other classes like Mages or Priests. Rogues are stealthy assassins who excel in high burst damage. Their ability to remain undetected and control enemies make them one of the most fun and rewarding classes to play. Rogues excel at high burst DPS, especially when using Backstab, Eviscerate and Cold Blood in raids and dungeons. The ability to stay stealthed gives rogues great control over combat. They can easily sneak past their enemies, pick off targets or set up the kills. Rogues can control the flow of PvP battles with Sap, Blind and Kidney Shot, making them dominant in the Battlegrounds and open world PvP. However, rogues are very squishy and they can't take much damage before they are downed. To maximise DPS, rogues need to manage combo points carefully and use the abilities at the right time. Learning your rotation is pivotal with this class. Rogues generally don't bring much to the raid other than raw DPS, so they're often less desirable in certain raid comps. Priests are the quintessential healers of WoW Classic. They also have a DPS spec, which is Shadow, for solo play or PvP, which makes them a versatile choice for both group and solo play. Priests are the best single target healers in the game, thanks to Power Word Shield and Holy Ward Serenity. They have high healing output and can keep players alive in intense raids. They bring useful buffs and debuffs like Shadow Protection and Mass Dispel, and they can remove debuffs in dungeons and raids. Priests can be great in PvP and deal decent damage as Shadow Priests, and their ability to heal themselves and others in PvP makes them a solid choice. However, Priests burn through mana really fast, especially in long fights, so you'll need to manage your resources carefully. While they can be healed, Priests are vulnerable to burst damage in PvP and they lack the mobility compared to the other classes. Priests have limited mobility, so they are often so easy to kite and lock down in PvP, so bear this in mind. Mages are master of burst DPS and crowd control. They bring powerful AoE abilities and the ability to polymorph enemies, which is invaluable in both PvE and PvP. Mages are known for their burst damage. Their spells, particularly Fireball, Pyroblast and Frostbolt, can melt through enemies quickly in both dungeons and raids. The ability to polymorph enemies is a game changer in dungeons and PvP. Mages can control the battlefield from their crowd control abilities. Mages provide excellent utility in raids with arcane intellect, food and water buffs, and teleportation spells. Mages, however, are extremely squishy and can be easily killed if caught out of position. They also burn through mana very fast, especially in long fights, and they're heavily dependent on their mana pool for DPS. Mages also have limited mobility, especially in PvE. If they get too close to an enemy, they can struggle to escape. Warlocks bring the power of demons and curses to the battlefield. With their summoning abilities and damage over time spells, they can deal sustained damage and provide strong utility in both PvP and PvE. Warlocks excel at dealing sustained damage over time with abilities like Corruption and Immolate. They bring powerful debuffs and can deal excellent damage in raids. Warlocks summon demons that can tank or deal damage. This gives them great versatility in combat. In PvP, Warlocks have strong control with Fear, Howl of Terror, and their ability to outlast opponents with Drain Life. Like Hunters, Warlocks need to manage their pets, which can be difficult in certain situations, especially in PvP. They are also slower to level than other classes, particularly before they have access to their best abilities and demons. Warlocks can be mana intensive, especially when spamming their dots and damage abilities in the longer fights. Druids are the ultimate hybrid class, capable of performing multiple roles. Whether you want to tank, heal, or DPS, a Druid can do it all through their shapeshifting abilities. Druids can tank in bear form, heal as a restoration druid, and DPS in cat form or moonkin forms, making them extremely flexible in any situation. With cat form for DPS and bear form for tanking and self-healing, druids are fantastic for solo content. They also have strong utility with abilities like Cyclone, Entangling Roots and Hibernate, making them unpredictable in PvP. Druids are genuinely outclassed by other DPS classes in raids, particularly early on in Classic. Being a hybrid class means that druids never specialise in one particular role as much as the other classes, which can sometimes limit their effectiveness in certain situations. Like priests and shamans, druids can struggle with mana management in the long encounters. Shamans are the Horde's hybrid class. They can heal, DPS and provide powerful utility through their totems. In Classic, the Shaman class is only available in the Horde faction, so be sure to bear this in mind. Shamans bring strong buffs to the group with their totems, including Wind Fury Totem, Healing Stream Totem, and Strength of the Earth Totem. These buffs can be invaluable in a raid and dungeon setting. Shamans can deal good damage, particularly in elemental or enhancement specs, with abilities like Chain Lightning and Flame Shock. Shamans can heal effectively, especially in 5-man content, thanks to their Healing Wave and Lesser Healing Wave spells. While they are capable healers, Shamans are often overshadowed by priests in raid healing. Shamans depend heavily on good gear to outperform in both DPS and healing roles. Shamans, like Paladins, can be kited, and the lack of mobility they possess can be a problem in PvP. So there you have it, the full breakdown of all 9 classes in World of Warcraft Classic. Whether you want to tank, heal, or dish out damage, there's a class that will suit your playstyle. Now, with the fresh servers launching on November the 21st, it's time to choose your hero and dive back into Azeroth. Let me know in the comments which class you're rolling on the Fresh servers, and if you found this video helpful, hit that like and subscribe for more WoW content. Until next time, peace.